3 weeks. That is how long your flower bed looks alive after you bring home those gorgeous nursery plants. Then the color fades, the stems go bare, the gaps open up, and for the next 5 months, the part of your yard you spent money on becomes the one thing you try not to look at. Most gardeners do not fail because they are lazy. They fail because the garden center sells them a moment, not a season. Those plants look perfect on the display bench because they are already at their peak. But once you bring them home, many of them finish blooming just as summer begins, leaving you with empty soil, weeds, and that frustrating feeling that you wasted your money again. Today, we are fixing that problem from the ground up. I'm going to show you a complete 3-dimensional flower bed blueprint built with 16 long-performing perennials, tall architectural plants in the back, high-impact color in the middle, weed-blocking ground covers in the front, and smart problem solvers for shade, wet soil, dead corners, and vertical space. By the end, you won't just know which plants to buy, you'll know exactly where to place them, why they work together, and how to build a garden that keeps looking alive long after the first bloom is gone. This curated list of 16 elite perennials was selected under absolute strict criteria. They bloom continuously from late spring right up to the very first hard frost of winter. They grow dense foliage that naturally chokes out weeds, and they are completely free of aggressive, invasive runners that destroy your soil structure or scents that attract stray cats to come scratch up your pristine beds. To ensure you do not waste a single dollar on the wrong plant choices, whether you're gardening in the crisp, chilly air of New England or the baking sun of California, I'm going to break down the exact hardiness zones, true mature heights, and the specific soil and light requirements for every single species. Grab your pen and paper and get ready to take some serious notes on these technical specs, because this practical knowledge will empower you to design a structured, professional-grade garden yourself without paying a dime for expensive landscaping services. The very back row of your flower bed demands plants with serious architectural strength, tall, sturdy stems capable of withstanding heavy wind gusts to act as a living backdrop that anchors the entire composition in front of them. Plant number 1 for this critical position is Veronicastrum, commonly known as Culver's root. This magnificent perennial is native to the wet prairies and meadows of the American Midwest and the Mid-Atlantic coast. This plant performs beautifully in climates ranging from hardiness zones 3 through 8. It reaches a true mature height of 4 to 6 feet, shooting straight up with striking candelabra-like spikes of clean white or pale lavender blossoms from July all the way through September. Its cultural requirements are a spot in full sun and a rich, moisture-retentive soil packed with organic matter. Here is a crucial insider lesson for you. This plant grows incredibly slow during its very first year because it is channeling all its energy into establishing a massive deep taproot system beneath the soil, so you must be patient. But from the second season onward, its stems become as tough as structural steel, standing tall through intense summer thunderstorms without needing a single stake for support. The distinct whorled foliage wraps around the stems, casting a dense shadow over the ground that completely cuts off sunlight and stops weed seeds from ever germinating. In the wider ecosystem, it is a true keystone species, providing high-quality nectar that sustains over 100 species of native bees and butterflies. Plant number 2, standing right beside Veronicastrum in the back row, is Baptisia, widely known as false indigo. This incredibly resilient plant is a staple favorite in classic cottage gardens across New England and the United Kingdom. It works reliably across a massive climate range, from hardiness zones 3 all the way to 9. Baptisia develops into a grand, shrub-like mound that brings an air of luxury to the garden, topping out at 3 to 4 feet tall when given a premium full-sun location.
In the middle of spring, it pushes up long, dramatic racemes of deep indigo blue or creamy yellow pea-like blossoms, creating a spectacular contrast in form when placed next to the vertical spikes of the veronicastrum. The core technical detail you need to remember is that Baptisia develops an incredibly deep, aggressive taproot to seek out underground water reserves, which allows it to laugh in the face of the most brutal summer droughts. But it also means you must choose its permanent home wisely right from day one. If you try to dig this plant up and move it after its second year, that vital taproot will snap and the plant will completely die. Once the spring blooms fade, its dense blue-green trifoliate foliage spreads out wide like a massive umbrella, completely locking out ground-level light and stopping weeds in their tracks for the rest of the summer. Stepping down to the middle layer, this is the absolute backbone and heart of your entire flower bed, a zone that catches the most intense sunlight and requires high-impact color blocks to draw the eye right in. Plant number 3 in this key position is Helenium, specifically the newly improved varieties from the celebrated Heyday or Mariachi series. This plant completely solves a massive mistake that many gardeners make when they reach for Crocosmia bulbs looking for late summer red and orange tones.
Experienced gardeners from the Oregon coast down to the deep south can tell you that Crocosmia is an invasive nightmare underground. Its bulbs multiply rapidly into dense, tangled mats that choke the soil and stop blooming entirely after a few years unless you constantly dig them up and divide them. Helenium is the perfect trouble-free alternative, growing in tidy, upright clumps from 2 to 3 feet tall without any invasive spreading underground. It craves full sun and requires well-draining soil. From late July right up to the first frost, it pumps out thousands of daisy-like flowers in rich terracotta red, burnt orange, and warm golden bronze. The ultimate insider secret to keeping this plant blooming non-stop is to deadhead the first major flush of flowers around August. This technique forces the lower leaf axils to branch out and push out wave after wave of fresh buds. When you plant these in a tight drift of 3 spaced 18 inches apart, their thick foliage knits together to form an impenetrable wall against weeds right in the middle of your bed. Plant number 4 in the mid case is Echinacea, famously known as the coneflower. Do not waste your time on those old-fashioned, leggy, pale purple varieties from decades ago. Instead, you want to target the cutting-edge hybrids like Sunseeker's Salmon with its gorgeous, rich salmon pink tones, or Cheyenne Spirit, which offers an incredible mix of deep reds to warm cream colors on a single plant. These modern varieties perform beautifully across hardiness zones 3 through 9, maintaining a sturdy, compact height of 2 to 2.5 feet in full sun. They are incredibly drought-tolerant once their root systems are fully established. The stems of these modern echinaceas are perfectly straight and rigid, making them the ideal companion to interplant within your helenium drifts, creating a beautiful rhythmic texture for the middle row from Ohio all the way to New York. Here is a golden lesson from veteran gardeners. When autumn wraps up and the flowers fade, do not cut down those dry, cone-shaped seed heads. Leave them standing proud through the winter snow, because wild songbirds like goldfinches and chickadees rely entirely on these oil-rich seeds to survive when the ground freezes over. Over the years, the crown of the echinacea expands into a dense, tight clump that naturally guards its own perimeter against encroaching weeds. Plant number 5 in the mid-case is the black-eyed Susan, but specifically the game-changing variety known as American Gold Rush. This outstanding plant delivers a massive burst of rich golden energy to late summer gardens across America, featuring vibrant yellow petals that wrap around a deep chocolate center. It thrives in full sun, handles hardiness zones 3 through 9 with ease, and stays at a perfectly manicured height of 2 to 2.5 feet. You should plant these in a bold, sweeping mass along fence lines or transition corners for maximum visual impact.
The honest truth is that older Rudbeckia varieties are a total nightmare in July because they are incredibly susceptible to septoria leaf spot, a nasty fungus that turns the entire foliage into a black, tattered mess right when you want your garden looking at its best.
You can erase that worry entirely by selecting American Gold Rush. This variety possesses top-tier fungal resistance, keeping its finely textured, hairy leaves clean, crisp, and bright green all season long. This flower drift also serves as an essential ecological pit stop for monarch butterflies during their spectacular migration from Canada down through the Midwest to Mexico in September. Its incredibly dense branching habit right at the base makes it an unrivaled natural weed barrier. Plant number 6 in the middle row is Amsonia, commonly called Blue Star. This plant plays a vital role in cooling down the hot color palette of your mid-scene. In late April and May, it bursts into delicate, star-shaped clusters of soft, powdery blue flowers, a true pastel blue tone that is incredibly rare in the perennial world. Amsonia is amazingly tough against both extreme cold and blistering heat from zones 3 to 9, growing into a lush, billowy mound of willow-like foliage that reaches 2 to 3 feet tall, and it is perfectly happy anywhere from full sun to partial shade. All through the summer, its emerald green leaves dance gracefully in the breeze, and then come October, the entire plant shifts into a breathtaking, brilliant golden yellow, delivering an autumn display that rivals expensive specimen trees. You are truly getting 2 spectacular shows for the price of one single plant. The technical tip from the pros here is that if you let the plant grow completely wild, by midsummer that fine willow-like foliage will splay wide and flop over onto the ground after heavy summer rains, ruining the structure of your bed. To prevent this, take your shears and cut the plant back by 1/3 right after the spring bloom finishes in late June. This forces the plant to compact, bush out densely, form a perfect mound, and maximize that gorgeous autumn color impact, while the thick canopy completely shades out summer weeds. Plant number 7 in the mid-case is Agastache, also known as hummingbird mint. This plant works like an absolute magnet for pollinators. Homeowners across America know that if you plant a few pots of Agastache on Saturday morning, by Sunday afternoon, the first hummingbirds are already buzzing around it. The exceptional new hybrids in the Summer Long series bring the rich colors of a sunset right into your yard, ranging from deep magenta and smoky peach to soft lilac purple. This plant thrives in the intense heat and dry air of the Southwest and California, performing flawlessly from zones 5 to 10, standing tall at 2 to 3 feet in full sun. It reaches the absolute peak of its game in August and September, exactly when other plants are starting to look tired and spent. The critical make-or-break lesson with Agastache is that it absolutely despises heavy, waterlogged clay soil in the wintertime. If you plant it in a winter-wet region like the Ohio Valley, in heavy, unamended clay, the crown will rot and suffocate almost immediately, even if the winter temperatures are well within its zone rating. The practical solution for cold climate gardeners in zones 5 and 6 is to plant this summer-long series inside large, stylish terracotta containers placed out on your patio or deck. This gives you total control over drainage, using a gritty, sandy soil mix while placing the hummingbirds right at eye level outside your window. Because it grows upright, its self-weeding ability is moderate, so it pairs beautifully with the low ground covers right below it. We have officially covered the 2 most critical structural layers of your flower bed, the sturdy background providing that solid foundation, and the high-energy mid-case bursting with continuous color. Before we step down to the foreground bordering your paths, where we will reveal the secret weapon plants that knit together into a living carpet to wipe out weeds completely, I have a quick practical question for you. What kind of soil are you currently dealing with in your yard? Are you working with dry, fast-draining sand along the coast, or are you fighting that heavy, sticky, stubborn clay of the Midwest? Drop a comment right below this video with your soil type and your specific hardiness zone.
The experienced gardeners in this community and I will jump in to help you figure out the exact soil amendments you need, ensuring you never waste money on the wrong plant ever again. Now, let us dive right into the low-growing warriors of the garden. Plant number 8 in the middle row is penstemon, widely known as beard tongue. This native North American powerhouse is the definition of pure grit and resilience. It shoots up elegant tubular flowers in shades of intense scarlet red or rich orchid purple, blooming reliably from late spring straight through the heat of summer, acting as a beautiful bridge that fills the color gap before the autumn flowers wake up. It performs beautifully across a broad climate range from hardiness zones 3 to 9, maintaining an ideal height of 2 to 3 feet in full sun. Its sheer toughness allows it to thrive everywhere from the rocky, arid slopes of the Rockies to the humid gardens of the mid-Atlantic coast. You should plant penstemon in a tight grouping of 3 to 5 to create a bold, eye-catching color destination. Now, here is the life-saving secret that will save you from buying replacement plants every spring and explains exactly why 90% of gardeners accidentally kill their penstemon their very first winter. It is the absolute golden rule: do not prune this plant back in the autumn. As the freezing weather rolls in, those old, dry stems might look a little messy to you, but their biological structure acts as a natural coat of armor, protecting the delicate crown buds from freezing to death through brutal winters in zones 4, 5, and 6. Leave them completely alone. The plant knows exactly what it is doing, and wait until late spring when the weather warms up to clean it up. When grown in a large clump, its low foliage forms a thick base that does an excellent job of shading out summer weeds. Plant number 9 in the middle row is perennial salvia, specifically the cold-hardy, legendary cultivar known as May Night. This is the plant that solves the classic midsummer slump, that difficult stretch in July when spring blooms have completely faded and the autumn performers are still waking up. May Night salvia pushes up deep vertical spikes of intense cobalt blue-purple, maintaining its vibrant color despite the absolute baking heat of July, creating a spectacular contrast when placed next to the bright yellows of your black-eyed Susans. It maintains a clean, compact height of 1.5 to 2 feet, absolutely loves full sun, and features top-tier cold hardiness through North American winters from zones 4 to 9. It acts as a flawless transitional border from the middle row down to your lower walkway plants. Our competitors often make the mistake of recommending tropical salvias like Amistad, which look nice but will freeze and die the moment the first snow hits the ground. We choose May Night for long-term, year-after-year reliability. The secret to keeping salvia pushing new blooms all the way to late autumn is regular deadheading. The moment a flower spike turns brown, take your shears and snip it back down to the next pair of healthy green leaves. Within 2 short weeks, 2 brand new flower spikes will burst out from those leaf axils and bloom beautifully. If you skip this step, the plant will pour all its energy into making seeds and the flowering will stop completely. The textured leaves of May Night grow incredibly dense and spread flat against the ground, creating a thick green carpet that effectively suppresses weeds beneath your taller plants. This layer sits directly along your walkways and the very outer edges of your flower beds. The mission here is high aesthetic appeal, paired with a spreading, interlocking habit that forms a living mulch to block out weeds naturally. Plant number 10, right along the edge of your walkway, is Calamintha nepeta, commonly known as lesser calamint. You will see competitors recommending catmint for this spot, but anyone who has actually grown catmint knows it can be a total disaster. Its intense scent attracts every stray cat in the neighborhood to come roll around, scratch, and crush the plant until it dies. For the exact same beautiful look, but a much smarter design, choose Calamintha nepeta instead. From June straight through to the first hard frost, this plant is covered in thousands of tiny, airy, pale lavender blue flowers, creating a gorgeous effect that looks like a cloud of soft mist hovering over the ground. It stays low at 1 to 1.5 feet tall, loves full sun, and handles climates from zones 5 to 9 with ease. It grows into perfect, tidy mounds that spill gracefully over brick or stone walkways. The ultimate advantage of calamintha is that its genetics contain absolutely none of the chemical compounds that trigger cats. Stray cats will ignore this plant 100% of the time. On the flip side, when you brush past the foliage, it releases a crisp, refreshing lemon mint aroma, which acts as a natural deterrent that keeps mosquitoes away from your paths. It is completely deer and rabbit resistant. Best of all, the fine branches of calamintha weave tightly together into a solid block that totally blankets the soil, making it a premier weed-killing weapon for the front edge of your bed. Plant number 11 in the ground cover layer is the hardy geranium, specifically the legendary hybrid named Roseanne. Make no mistake, this is a true perennial cranesbill, completely different from those annual red geraniums you buy in hanging baskets and throw in the trash every October. The Roseanne variety features gorgeous cup-shaped violet-blue flowers with a clean white center, blooming non-stop from April through the heat of summer right into September. It stays low at 1 to 1.5 feet tall, but possesses an incredible wide-spreading habit. It performs beautifully from the damp, rainy Pacific Northwest all the way to the freezing Zone 3 winters of Canada, where temperatures drop well below zero.
This plant truly thrives on neglect. It requires zero pruning, no tedious deadheading, and demands absolutely no special maintenance from you. Its soft, trailing stems naturally weave and spread, filling every empty pocket of soil beneath your rose bushes or taller mid-case plants, knitting together into a dense living carpet. This living mulch not only keeps the soil cool and moist under the baking summer sun, but it completely suffocates any weed seeds trying to sprout. Come autumn, Roseanne's bright green leaves shift into a rich bronze-red color before tucking in for the winter. Plant number 12 was added to this list by popular demand from older gardeners who want high impact with low maintenance, Pladiocodon grandiflorus, famously known as the balloon flower. This unique perennial brings a wonderful element of fun right to the edge of your path. Before the flowers open up, the buds swell into perfectly hollow, puffy globes that look exactly like tiny hot air balloons. When they finally pop open, they reveal crisp, star-shaped, five-petaled blossoms in a deep, rich ink blue or pure white. It maintains a tidy height of about 1.5 feet, thrives in anything from full sun to partial shade, and works reliably across hardiness zones 4 through 9. Planting Pladiocodon along the walkway gives the eye a delightful place to pause. This is a long-lived perennial that can easily last for decades in your garden. It is highly pest-resistant and virtually immune to summer powdery mildew. It handles neglect like a champ, requires no complicated fertilizing, and manages poor soils beautifully. The practical note here is that its root system wakes up quite late in the spring, so make sure to mark its location so you do not accidentally step on the new shoots with a shovel during spring cleanup. With a quick, light deadheading of faded blooms, the plant will continuously push out fresh buds from June to August. The sturdy root system combined with its neat whorled foliage keeps the soil clean and weed-free along your borders. Plant number 13 in the foreground is Scabiosa, widely known as the pincushion flower. The delicate lavender blue or deep burgundy red flowers feature a dense textured center with outer petals that flare wide, sitting gracefully on slender, wiry stems that dance in the breeze, bringing the romantic essence of wild French meadows right into your yard. It stays at a perfect 1 to 1.5 feet tall, loves full sun, and thrives beautifully in climates from zones 3 to 7. Placing Scabiosa in the front row helps soften the hard, rigid lines of a formal garden layout. Its delicate appearance often tricks people into thinking it is high maintenance, but the reality is quite the opposite. It is incredibly cold-hardy and blooms tirelessly from June into October if you give it regular deadheading. It acts as a premium destination for swallowtail butterflies all summer long. A well-established plant can produce over 2,000 seeds a season.
If you want a relaxed, natural look that fills in to block weeds, let the seeds drop naturally. Those long, slender stems also make it an exceptional cut flower that lasts an incredibly long time in a vase inside your home. This specialized section targets those awkward, difficult dead zones in your yard where most homeowners feel completely helpless trying to grow anything.
Plant number 14 solves that first notorious dead zone, those areas on the north side of your home that are completely blocked from the sun or deep beneath the dense canopy of large shade trees, places where almost no flowering plant can survive. Your ultimate solution here is heuchera, commonly known as coral bells. This is the only plant on our list that delivers massive value to your garden even on the days it has 0 flowers. The core power of heuchera lies in its spectacular foliage, which offers an unrivaled color palette all year round, ranging from warm toasted caramel, deep burgundy purple, bright lime green, to shimmering metallic silver, holding its rich color from March right through December. It performs flawlessly in zones 4 through 9, maintaining a neat height of 1 to 1.5 feet. While it does send up delicate spikes of tiny coral pink flowers in summer that hummingbirds adore, it is that brilliant foliage that transforms a dark, dingy corner into a living work of art. Here is a critical lesson for gardeners in cold zones 4 through 6. Because of its shallow root system, the constant freezing and thawing of the soil in early spring can easily push the crown of the plant right up out of the ground, a phenomenon known as frost heaving, which leaves the roots exposed to dry out and die. Your maintenance rule is to check your beds in early spring, gently press the lifted crowns back firmly into the soil with your hands, and immediately apply a fresh layer of mulch around them for protection. The broad, overlapping leaves of heuchera spread out to completely blanket the ground, leaving weeds 0 opportunity to emerge in the shade. Plant number 15 tackles the second difficult dead zone, those low-lying drainage areas along fences or corners where rainwater pools and puddles after a heavy storm, keeping the soil constantly soggy, waterlogged, and heavy, causing the roots of ordinary plants to turn black and rot from a total lack of oxygen. You can transform that muddy mess into a stunning ecological paradise with chalone, commonly known as turtlehead. This unique North American native carries striking, deep rose-pink flowers with a fascinating shape. They look exactly like the open mouth of a turtle reaching up for the sun, a memorable feature that guarantees every guest visiting your garden will ask you what it is. It maintains a sturdy height of 2 to 3 feet, thrives beautifully in partial shade, and offers exceptional cold hardiness from zones 3 to 8. It blooms incredibly late in the season, from August straight into October, making it a perfect anchor plant for rain gardens. Chalone was biologically engineered for wet soil. The damper the ground, the more vigorously it grows, and the glossier its foliage becomes. When late autumn rolls around, this spot will become the most active, bustling hub in your entire yard because the structural shape of the chalone blossom is perfectly sized and weighted for heavy, fluffy bumblebees to climb completely inside to pollinate. Its habit of growing into tight, upright, dense clumps allows chalone to completely colonize wet areas, leaving absolutely no room for moisture-loving weeds to invade. Plant number 16 to complete our 3D layered blueprint is the ultimate solution for expanding your garden upward to capitalize on vertical space. Welcome clematis, the undisputed queen of the climbers. Most people only know how to plant a single purple clematis and let it wrap around a standard mailbox out front, which is a massive waste of this plant's incredible potential. Clematis offers an unrivaled, massive color range, from velvety midnight purple and soft blush pink to pristine white and vibrant bicolors with striking stripes, ready to transform any old weathered fence line, garden arbor, or dead tree trunk into a spectacular wall of flowers. It handles zones 4 through 9 beautifully, blooming from late spring to late autumn, depending on the specific variety.
The ultimate pro tip used by landscape architects to achieve 5 months of continuous vertical bloom is to plant 3 different clematis varieties from different bloom groups together on the exact same trellis structure. Choose an early spring bloomer, a mid-summer bloomer, and a late autumn variety. They will take turns bursting into bloom right after one another, keeping your trellis vibrant and free of dead spots from May all the way through September. The absolute, non-negotiable golden rule that determines whether your clematis lives or dies during a blistering hot summer is the famous gardening mantra, heads in the sun, feet in the shade. The root system of a clematis is incredibly sensitive and will easily burn if the soil gets baked under the summer sun. The practical solution is to apply a very thick layer of wood mulch around the base, or even smarter, plant our number 11 foreground star, the hardy geranium roseanne, right at the feet of your clematis. This sprawling ground cover will beautifully shade and protect the sensitive roots, allowing your clematis to perform reliably year after year while completely locking out weeds at the base of your trellis. There you have it. The complete blueprint of 16 elite, high-performance perennials, a design journey traveling from the commanding spikes of Veronicastrum in the backdrop all the way up to the elegant clematis climbing high on the trellis. Now that you have walked through this entire 3-dimensional layered system, you understand the core truth of landscape design. The difference between a spectacular garden that looks jaw-dropping for 6 full months versus a yard that peaks for 3 short weeks and then dies does not come down to a massive budget, and it certainly does not depend on luck. It is entirely about possessing a smart, layered design mindset and knowing the exact plant names that actually perform and give you their absolute all through the entire growing season. Next week, right here on the channel, I am releasing a highly specialized video exposing the 10 fatal mistakes people make during spring planting that almost everyone is accidentally committing right now, especially mistake number 3, which involves laying down black plastic landscape fabric the wrong way. That sheet of plastic covering your dirt is secretly suffocating your soil, blocking vital oxygen and mineral water from reaching the roots and killing off your overwintering crowns of your precious perennials without you even knowing it. You absolutely cannot afford to miss this hard-hitting lesson if you want to protect your hard-earned money. Hit that subscribe button right now so the algorithm automatically delivers that video straight to your homepage the exact second it drops next week. Before you turn off your screen, grab your gardening gloves and head outside. Leave your honest answer in the comments below. In today's 3D layered blueprint, which specific plant surprised you the most and is a must-have for your yard? And which plant are you still a bit skeptical about? Drop your thoughts along with your hardiness zone below, because your real-world hands-on gardening experiences in your own yard will always be worth infinitely more than any commercial plant tag or marketing pitch at the local nursery. Now, get out into the garden and start planting.